Honestly happy I caught the stream because I'm planning on getting bottom surgery in the future, and it's good to know what to expect. Anything trans related is incredibly difficult because you're always going to get mixed things and you don't know what is misinformation, what is fear-mongering, and a lot of the resources out there are by cis people who didn't undergo the surgery. So it's really rare to find proper resources, and it always feels like you have to study as if you're writing a PhD on what it's like to be trans, which kind of sucks. I want to help out. Hello everybody, I'm being bullied by my chat, but I'm going to answer your questions about bottom surgery. Just a heads up, I'm a transfem. I had penile inversion a couple of months ago, and I'm from Germany. A lot of the things that I'm going to say are pretty general. Just the process of getting bottom surgery is going to change depending on where you are located. Let's talk about the process of getting bottom surgery. How much does bottom surgery cost and how much is covered by insurance? I went to a public clinic, not a private one, so everything was covered. I did have penile inversion. Sadly, they don't do any other variants by default, and you'd have to go to a private clinic, which would mean that you'd have to pay for parts of it. But yeah, my health insurance covered everything. They also are going to cover the second bottom surgery, which is a cosmetic one. It's just to correct the labias they formed. How long was the process between first psychological assessment, referral, and the day of the surgery? It took me 3 years to find a therapist who was actually willing to help me to get approved for HRT. And that same therapist wrote the psychological assessment for bottom surgery. They just basically have to phrase it a little bit differently. They have to add that you experience bottom dysphoria and that this is going to help you and all that stuff. But I basically got that really quick. I didn't know what I needed to send my health insurance initially. I sent them the psychological assessment for HRT, and that just wasn't good enough. I also had to send them my karyotype, which took a while to get. I also had to send them a personalized letter talking about what surgeries I'm planning to do. I also had to obviously send them the piece of paper from the clinic. I finished the legal process of changing my name, and I had like a bunch of stuff for that. I didn't have the court order yet, but I basically sent them a lot of similar stuff that I was required to send to the court in order to get my legal name changed and my gender marker changed. It basically took half a year because they don't write you an email. Everything goes through snail mail, and it takes a while. I actually had a call from my health insurance, and they were like, we kind of want to approve you for the surgery, but we need the karyotype, and if you don't give it to us at the end of the year, you have to restart the process, which kind of sucks. And it got really close to end of December when I got the email from my endocrinologist with my karyotype, which is kind of weird that they need that. It's not like if I was intersex, anything would have changed. Then it took half a year to get the date for my surgery. So all in all, it basically took a year. I got the appointment at my clinic really quickly, which was kind of surprising for Germany. And then it took like half a year to gather everything and get approved. And then it took another half a year to actually get the appointment. Moving on to the next part. Would you recommend bottom surgery for someone who's on the fence about the procedure, or who doesn't necessarily mind having factory plumbing sometimes? It's kind of tricky. For me personally, it was really clear. I had bottom dysphoria, and a lot of the issues that I had, like isolating myself, not wanting to wear certain clothes, not wanting any relationships, no intimacy, struggling going to the bathroom or looking at myself naked and all that stuff. Everything was caused by my bottom parts. And now that they are changed, I actually don't have these problems anymore, and it's really freeing. But if you're on the fence, I wouldn't rush things, but I definitely look into it. Maybe talk to a therapist about it. I mean, if it doesn't negatively impact your life, you don't want to go swimming or something. If it's not severe, I wouldn't do it just because it's a tough surgery. Even if you just do the penile inversion one, which is the least invasive one, it is still really tough on the body. There are always risks. I was at the clinic, and someone who was in their 60s had it 1 week after me. Unless something happens like in the 1940s, you will have the chance to do this surgery and it's not running away from you. Just do it when you're ready. Also, maybe you don't want to remove the pee-pee, but just your testicles, so you don't have to take testosterone blockers anymore, which could also be a thing. But I also heard that if you get the orchiectomy, which is removing the testicles, sometimes insurance won't cover the penile inversion one, or doctors don't recommend it because your scrotum shrinks and you're losing skin tissue that they can no longer use and things like that. But I would definitely like talk to a surgeon about that if that is something that you would prefer. What advice should I give to my transfem friends who are considering the surgery? Basically, just tell them to watch this video. If they have any questions that aren't answered by this video, DM me, join the Discord, leave a comment or whatever, and I can help them out. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a surgeon, I'm not a therapist, whatever. I can't make this decision for you. This is something that you have to be really sure about, but I can give you the POV of someone who suffered because of dysphoria, especially bottom dysphoria. And it's kind of interesting that the day after my surgery, I was on pain medication. I was in pain. I was struggling so hard, and my brother called to check up on me. And he was like, "You sound really happy." And I was like, I'm miserable. I'm in pain. I'm struggling. My leg is numb. I can't move. Nothing is happening. But like, you know, it felt like a huge weight that was like holding me back was finally gone. It's kind of like waking up from a nightmare. Every single day of my past 20 years, I wished that I would wake up as a girl. And then I did. First day wakes up as a girl, only complaining. Basically, I'm going to talk about that later, but oh, Jesus. Was it scary removing that part of yourself? So this is something that I was sure about for quite some time, but obviously I was scared, especially like getting closer and closer to the actual appointment. And it really hit me when I was in the hospital on the bed being transported to the anesthetist, and they were preparing me, and my heart rate was really intense because I was like, I'm actually doing this. This is actually real. This is happening. Obviously I was scared that something would go wrong. Luckily, nothing did. Imagine she asked the doc, is this real? It's more so the fear of complications, not the fear of possible regret. I don't think I will ever regret it because it has been something on my mind that has been negatively impacting me for such a long time. It's so freeing to actually just go outside and not worry about that bullshit. Let's talk about recovery from surgery. Were there any complications in surgery or recovery? In surgery, no. In recovery, yes. Only in the first couple of days. You have something called the epidural. This is in your spine. It's an area called the epidural space. When they told me all about this, I actually passed out, so I'm sorry if this is like too graphic for you, but they basically put like a little tube in there that's going to stay there. You're not going to feel it. They administer a medicine. It basically blocks the pain signals coming from your lower body from getting into your brain. There's a constant flow of the medication coming into you, but you can press a panic button and then it's going to pump more and more if you feel a lot of pain. On the second day, my button didn't work. My left hand was numb just because like they position you in such a weird way and the surgery is like 5 hours long. So my left leg was like in pain just because of how they positioned you and like how everything was being stretched apart. And I'm not that, you know, flexible, but my right leg was completely numb. Like they wanted me to stand up and I tried to walk and I almost fell down. They always told me, oh yeah, it's normal, it's normal. And after the third day, they were like, oh, it's no longer normal. So they had to pull it out, but they didn't give me more pain medication. So as this stuff stopped working and the pain signals hit me and my right leg stopped being numb and I also had the pain from being stretched so much, I was in so much pain. I felt like I was being tortured. As a kid, I watched a YouTube video of someone performing the surgery and I actually had these flashes as if the surgery was like being performed right now. And it only got worse over time. I don't know if they hate me or if they were just incompetent, but they didn't have their priorities straight. I was like, I'm in so much pain. And it took them 7 hours to give me oxycodone, which is like a medicine that makes you not feel anything anymore. I talked about it on Discord. This was horrible. It was the worst pain I've ever felt. The other person I was in the room with, she had surgery one day before me. When you're in the surgery, you have a tube in your throat, so you're able to breathe. And this can cause you to feel irritated, give you a sore throat. For this other person, she was struggling a lot, coughing a lot, because it kind of felt like something was stuck in her throat. So keep that in mind. For me personally, I had a sore throat for like 2 days and then it went away. How complicated was the surgery? It's a 5-hour surgery. They do a lot of stuff. Like I had penile inversion, but if you do like the colon one, they need a second team who are basically taking a part from your colon out, which has its benefits, but also like more risks, and it's more invasive. And like I said, like here in Germany, you would have to go to a private clinic and pay for a part of it. So yeah, obviously that is going to take longer and your recovery is going to be a little bit different. When you get penile inversion, they obviously have to hold open the wound, because otherwise you're going to lose that, then it's going to heal itself and all that stuff. So they put a stand into you, and that stand is basically a fucking Pringles can, which is getting stuck in there. And this is pressing onto your colon, so you can't poop. I didn't poop for 6 days, because on my 6th day, they removed the stand. I was also able to shower on my day 6, which was so pleasant. I forgot my razor, which meant I couldn't shave my facial hair, and I felt dirty despite showering. I did feel sick though. They had to give me IVs with antibiotics for quite a long time, actually. Pretty much for all the 2 weeks I stayed there. I also threw up a lot because like the medicine made me sick and all that stuff. They gave me things afterwards that helped me a lot. Also coughing, laughing, sneezing is really awful when you have that stand inside you. That was like the worst fucking feeling ever. I did the try not to laugh challenge and I lost. It caused me to suffer. After day 6, when they removed the stand, you know, things were slowly getting way better. Like I still had the catheter till day 14, which was kind of annoying. My circulation was in the gutter. I showered on day 6. Something that would have taken me like 20 minutes actually fucking took me over an hour, because I had to sit down. I had to lay down in the middle of showering. How much time you need to recover fully? Kind of depends. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital. Then it takes 6 to 8 weeks to heal. The stitches are like dissolving over time and all that stuff. I also needed clamps that had to be individually removed before I left, by the way. It's a weird feeling, but not that big of a deal. It's just like they have to be removed individually. So depending on how many you have, it might be a bit annoying. 6 months is basically like until you have to dilate daily, and at some point like things are going to slow down and the frequency goes down. And I do have my checkup next month, so they're going to tell me more about where I stand. It's not like you cannot function. I wasn't allowed to do my workout, obviously. I wasn't allowed to carry heavy things, so I needed some help with my booba. You know, I was able to drive. Like obviously getting up and sitting down was really uncomfortable. My circulation is still a little bit struggling, but I don't know if it's also caused by the heat. What is it like immediately after? I didn't believe it. It felt so surreal for the first couple of days. I also was like so scared of actually like looking at myself. The area was swollen and a little bit infected and things like that. When I had to do the vaginal shower and I actually saw everything like down there for the very first time, it felt incredibly surreal, but it also looked disgusting. Also being taught how to take care of that and being fingered by a doctor without getting called a good girl was kind of wild. Just getting that out there, you know, like once everything is like removed and the swelling goes down, it looks really good. Obviously I have to take good care of it. It's a daily task that I just have to do. One thing that I can advise you when you're doing dilating, there are different levels. My doctor told me to start on level 1, which is basically your pinky. It's not really a good start. At least start on like level 2 or maybe level 3. And also the dilators that I got recommended are plastic ones. They are basically rods. Like, since you have like a curvature because of your pelvic bone, you kind of have to insert it at a weird angle. The ones I had didn't really ease into it. So I actually got my dilators from a shop, ice.de. They also had like an Amazon shop and I ordered from them. Also for lube, obviously you want something sterile. This is my lube collection. Optilube is trash. Like, I had it in there for 20 minutes and it dried up completely. It was awful. I was pain. I didn't feel pain once I actually got pain medication. Once I came out of the hospital, I actually didn't really need any pain medication anymore. I did take one in the morning though. I also have to take my progesterone because once my balls got cut off, I'm able to now take progesterone, which for some reason doesn't get paid by insurance. I have to pay for it myself because insurance companies are like, that's lifestyle. How long does it take for you to go back to normal routine? When I came out of the hospital, I gave it a week. I drove to my piercer to get re-pierced because I accidentally removed my lip piercings. Didn't realize that they are titanium. In the surgery, they do like the electrolysis, so they are shooting electric current through your system. And if you have jewelry, then that might leave burns. You're not supposed to sit for long periods of time without taking breaks, but give yourself some time to heal. I also had to take injections to prevent thrombosis, which was also kind of interesting. I whimpered a lot because I'm scared of needles and I had to take it for 4 weeks. You know what I hated the most was me having to spend 2 weeks in a hospital bed and not in my dog bed curling up with my blowhigh. I did have my Fox plushie, which helped so much. Was it affecting your daily life? And would you say it's manageable for one alone to deal with it? Initially, I actually kind of panicked. I prepared for like a nuclear event when it comes to preparing with like ready-made meals and like stocking my medication and things like that. Honestly, I felt like after I got out of the hospital, I could have just driven home myself. Obviously, I shouldn't have because I was on pain medication. So I had a friend pick me up. You know, after like day 8 or something, I was like, I'm fine. I do think you're able to manage all by yourself, but I did appreciate the company and like hanging out in the Discord and being able to talk to people. But yeah, you should get someone who can pick you up. Did you get to keep your balls for the secret pasta recipe? No, they didn't even ask me if I want to keep them. What was the initial feeling of knowing the excess component was gone? It felt surreal. Like, it still kind of feels surreal, but like I felt relieved. And also, what was kind of interesting, every single day of the past decade, I basically only had one single dream. The wish of waking up as a girl with the proper anatomy and things like that. And after I had bottom surgery, I was like, I don't have this dream anymore because it's reality now. So now I can actually like, I'm free. Like, this curse is just gone, which was really interesting because this kind of consumed a lot of aspects of my life and now it's just gone. Do you feel closer to being your true self? I'm not entirely happy with my appearance yet. I feel like I have a lot of things that I need to work on, but this gave me a lot of hope. This gave me the motivation to actually start living my life. Do you experience phantom gock? I don't, because you still have the same sensations you had before. They're just in a different location. Are you satisfied with the look and feel? With the look, definitely. With the feel, I'm still developing a lot of like sensations, and also like I'm dilating. This is not like an arousing thing, but I wonder what it's like to get railed. I'm extremely happy. I never was like really sexually active person. My brainworms denied it for myself, so I never really had any pleasurable experiences before the surgery. So it's difficult for me to compare if it's like worse now or if it's better now. I'm now at a point where I can actually like experiment. Obviously, things are not perfect. Things will never be perfect. I feel like my depression was like instantly cured. I do still get a lot of like gender dysphoric moments, especially when being misgendered in public. It's going to take a little bit more time. How do clothes underwear feel? It's awesome. It's so good to not have something that is just like out of place in between your legs. Having this thing touch my legs was like always an awful feeling. Every time I was like wearing leggings and things like that, I was wearing an oversized hoodie because I was like scared someone would like see the bulge or whatever. And now I can tuck my shirt. I also always was like, oh, I want to wear skirts. And now I'm like, I want to wear all the hot pants. It feels freeing. How does it feel to pee now? It's chaos. Going to the bathroom is gender affirming, but like, Jesus fucking Christ, is it different? You're basically going from a sniper rifle to a sort of shotgun, and you never know how the spread is going to be. It's chaos. Your private parts like self-lubricate now? They don't. Because I had penile inversion. The colon one does self-lubricate, but I don't. Which is not too bad because like, it's actually recommended for a lot of cis women to also use lube. What's the experience with your family in regard to that? So I didn't have contact with my mother for like quite some time. I think 3 years now, because she's like incredibly transphobic and narcissistic and shit like that, and it was really toxic and I had to get out of there. I didn't talk to my father for a year, and I only talked to him again after my surgery. There was a lot of like gaslighting involved, trying to act like I misunderstood things, like him saying, is this really what you want? I misunderstood it. He meant like, are you sure that these doctors are the right ones for you? My brother actually came to visit me. That was pretty wholesome because he used to bully me for being like a girl. Having at least someone in my family come around is a pretty good feeling. If you have any more questions that I haven't answered, ask in Discord or next stream. But yeah, I hope this helps. And if you're about to do your surgery, I wish you the bestest of luck ever, because you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be yourself. Don't let people tell you otherwise. I do hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again soon. Bye.